Stanton and the Miami Marlins travel to New York to face the Mets.
With right field towards the corner.
The pregame's at 3:30 Eastern, followed by first pitch at 4:30. Saturday on ESPN Radio.
Did you hear the noise each of those J.R. Smith threes made going through the net, Frank Isola? Goink!
Switch.
Goink!
Goink.
Oh, this was interesting. Interesting defensive stand from Atlanta on that play. Oh, of course, the gutting injury to Carroll, which somehow is not as bad as it looks. Carroll is day-to-day. Kyrie's not well either. Plashke, what's your takeaway from Game 1?
My takeaway is still the injury to Carroll because they say it's mildly hyperextended. I don't think anything's ever mildly hyperextended. I don't know how he's going to do, but they really need him. He's the engine that runs the Hawks. He's been their leading scorer 6 of the 13 games in the postseason. Plus, he's the guy that guards LeBron. LeBron is 6 for 25 for him this season, counting regular season. They cannot afford to have him off the court for any substantial amount of time.
So the news that it's day-to-day, you're still worried about that because if he's diminished, it's
because you saw the way he went off the court. Yeah, I think the Hawks are in trouble.
I can't think of an NBA postseason has been so impacted by so many injuries and so many critical players. It really stinks if you're a fan. I mean, to see DeMarre Carroll go down, as Bill said, he takes so much away from that team. I mean, he plays 30 minutes a game. He's guarding the best player on the planet. He was a guy who really gave them their best chance. And then you look over to the Cleveland side and you think about LeBron, and wow, here he is once again with a team that people say he can take to the championship and maybe even win it, and yet he's the only guy standing, right? Kyrie Irving's hurt again. You got other guys on the bench that are hurt again. Kevin Love, and once again, it's just injuries. I just like
Frank, this about injuries to you, or is it going to be about J.R. Smith?
I love how these newspaper guys are burying the lead. It's all about J.R. Smith. Usually when J.R.'s in Atlanta, well, not anymore. Usually when J.R.'s in Atlanta wrecking havoc, it's usually off the court after the game. 8 3-pointers. Career playoff high, 28 points. He's been very good since that 2-game suspension in the last game against Boston. And this is what's amazing me about LeBron. The playoffs start, and the big three is going to be LeBron, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving. The big three right now for Cleveland, it's LeBron, of course, Tristan Thompson, and J.R. Smith. Once again, it just proves how great LeBron James is. But is that sustainable,
Frank? I mean, is J.R. Smith's performance sustainable, or is that fool's gold?
No, I still think he can have moments like this. LeBron does that. The key will be Kyrie Irving's got to come back healthy. If they can get out of this playoffs in a sweep or 5 games, he'll have about a week off before the NBA Finals.
Bob Ryan?
Well, I must say, as a neutral in this battle here, I am somewhat deflated by the injury development in this diminished the competition. This is really a battle of attrition. You're beginning to wonder how far down on the respective depth charts these teams will have to go. That said, Frank Isola is correct. This is about J.R. Smith last night, because this is the J.R. Smith that that's the outer limits. He can do this, and will he do this again? Probably not to that extent, 8 threes. But think about this. He has an average game, and the Hawks win. He has anything less than that spectacular game, and even with the injury to Carroll, and all that, the Hawks win. Now, in the long run, this injury to Carroll is potentially catastrophic, because it's obvious that power forwards can't guard LeBron, and I don't think that Kent Bazemore is going to be the answer. But I still think that for last night, the story of that game was J.R. Smith.
Back in.
Just stunned to hear Frank say anything nice about it. Why don't you say that stuff when he played for your team, Frank?
2 years ago, I did, when he won 6th Man of the Year.
Okay.
He played well 2 years ago.
We're going to move on. Warriors-Rockets tonight, because we've got moral outrage. Steve Kerr, morally outraged by the $5,000 flop fine Steph Curry received for this in the 4th quarter of Tuesday night. KB, are you equally morally outraged?
I'm probably even morally outraged than is Steve Kerr. I mean, that was an outrageous call. What did Steph Curry do there that is problematic? He hit a great three-point shot. He fell down. He got up. He did his little shoulder shake thing, pointed his finger in the air, and then went the other way. There was no call. Everybody marveled at what a great shot it was. He does that time and time again.
You don't think he was trying to draw a free throw on that? Get a 4-point play?
He may have been trying to draw it, but that's what you're supposed to do. If they want to be concerned about somebody, what about James Harden, who flails into everybody's body every time he shoots the ball?
All right. So some fire from Blackistone there about Harden. How about Isola? What are you shaking your head no about?
Kevin, in the immortal words of Riley Curry, you're too loud, be quiet. There's rules in basketball. It's called, you're not allowed to flop. He was flopping on the play. That's why they have these rules. It happens to everybody from Ginobili all over the league. He flopped on that play.
So you think that's a flop? All right, Bob Ryan, you want to make a stand here?
I don't care if it's a flop or not. I hope that $5,000 goes to a good charitable use because it's a ridiculous fine for a ridiculous rule that should not exist in the first place. Look, this whole thing, obsession with flopping, I do not get it. I have not gotten it from the minute that they instituted this. All it is very simple. A referee should know better. Referees should be trained to determine the difference and be reasonably accurate in knowing when a guy is faking and when he's not. That's all.
So the fact that the referees didn't do anything during the play there, and this was made
well, it tells you he didn't think there was a flop, and it wasn't. And I don't care. And I don't care.
Flashkey, how about you?
Yeah, it was clear. He looked like he was doing a barrel roll from a burning car. So he was definitely flopping. But that the NBA chose to make their stand on this during such a high-profile thing really kind of surprises me. Where were they during all the Hacka DeAndre, Hacka Howard stuff? They're not doing anything when these guys are intentionally fouling and slowing the game down. They're letting that go, yet they're making a big deal about this. It just doesn't make sense.
Let's talk about tonight's game then. Okay, we saw the adjustment from Steve Kerr and the Warriors going small. Dwight Howard is day-to-day questionable, just like everybody else in this postseason. What's the adjustment to the adjustment for Houston, Kevin?
Well, for Houston, I mean, James Harden has got to go off. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Well, he did in Game 1, didn't he? Even though he was bumping into people like you said earlier.
He's got to go off in an impactful way. He didn't get most of his important points until later on in that game.
Mikhail's adjustment tonight?
Now, they only have one chance. It's really the doctor. Can you get Dwight Howard out on the court? They have to play big because Draymond Green playing center for the Golden State Warriors, the Rockets have to be able to take advantage.
Bob?
It's self-evident that they have to have Howard on the floor, of course, and if they don't have him, they're in trouble because let's remember the big picture here. They've already lost Montezumas, and if they go to Howard, after him, it's Clint Capella, he's a youth, he's a kid. They don't have options. They just have to have Howard out there.
How about you, Flashkey?
When the Rockets took their 16-point lead, Harden only scored 3 points. It's all about Dwight Howard and the interior game. Frankie's right. Howard's got to be on the court and be effective and be active for them to have a chance.
We've been horned. We'll move on. Let's talk about this Bryce Harper ejection now. Questions for you guys. You can just yell it out. Strike or ball on the pitch?
Ball.
Maybe strike.
Ball.
Okay.
Ball.
Okay for Harper to step out of the box when Hudson's arguing with Matt Williams or not?
Fine.
Yes.
Fine.
And then the toe step back in. Is that copacetic or is there a bit too much attitude from Harper?
Not so much.
Okay. Harper afterwards, the quote, the Tootsie quote. I don't think 40,000 people came to watch him hump. Kaboom! Frank, have at it.
Well, first of all, you have the sequence all messed up because, yes, there was the pitch. Then he said something to the umpire. And in the third inning of a game, you can't have a dialogue between players and umpires after every single pitch. Then you have Matt Williams in the dugout. Yes, we all want to see Bryce Harper play. We don't want to see him ejected. But he's a young guy, and the umpires cannot allow this. That's why he did it. A-Rod struck out on a pitch, the final out of the game. He didn't sit there and complain. He walked off.
Bob Ryan, Marvin Hudson go too far, or did Bryce Harper?
I believe Marvin Hudson went too far because my opinion is, and this applies to basketball as well, when you make a call on what is clearly a borderline marginal situation, which that was, a borderline very low edge of the strike zone, you have to prepare yourself for a complaint and then give some slack at that moment. So it's all on Marvin Hudson.
Flashkey?
Bob, give slack where the rules say you do not argue balls and strikes, period. That's the oldest rule in the book. The Bryce Harper knows the rules. If you rewind the tape, Tony, you will see him complaining about the initial call. That's where it all started. He needs to learn to keep his mouth shut.
Do you believe every player gets ejected there, or do you believe it's Bryce Harper because he's shown to...
Well, I think the fact that the week earlier this happened, he's putting a little target on his back. Maybe just right, but still, you can't complain balls and strikes. You can't do it.
And Blackistone, how about you?
You certainly can complain balls and strikes, but that's not what got him thrown out. What got him thrown out was the fact that the umpire didn't think that he was back in the batter's box, and clearly he was back in the batter's box and waiting for the next pitch until he engaged Matt Williams in an argument, and that being Marvin Hudson. Then he returned to get ready to bat. I mean, this is just an over-officious move by Marvin Hudson, and he should apologize, and I bet you he felt badly about that later on. But there was no way that Harper should have been tossed out.
Kevin, you're just upset because Paul Pierce's jumper didn't count and the Caps blew a 3-1 series lead. He deserves to be ejected from
that's
the game.
right. Bring it in.
He drew on 2 counts. Blackistone response.
Drop the mic, Frank.
Blackistone, pick up the pieces.
I have no pieces to pick up there. You're absolutely correct about that. But I would also say that a soccer player would know what flopping is, and that's what Frank Isola was.
Okay. Last word here. I mean, when you say 40,000 people didn't come to watch you ump. I mean, that's it. That's case closed, mic drop. There's no comeback from that, right? Undefeated.
No, 40,000 came to watch the rules be enforced, too.
Yeah, that's true, too.
That is a rule we just enforced. Buy or sell next. Coming up, the two Swedish words in sports right now. Uffe Henrik. Oh boy. Stick around. Flasky, you're going to take the upside on this. Okay.
Absolutely on this side, yes.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This game was all over the place. New York's resilience overmatched by Tampa's offense. Again, Lundqvist said after the game he needs to dig in. Can't play like this if they want to win. Flashkey, what are you buying from Game 3?
I'm selling Lundqvist here. You know, hot goalies can win championships, and cold goalies can go out quickly. He's allowed 13 goals in the first 3 games of this series. The previous 4 times he's allowed at least 9 goals in 3 games. They've lost all 4 series. The Rangers are in
Blackstone.
Well, that may be true, but, you know, I would also look at the defensive help that he's not getting all of a sudden. You know, why not start thinking about shaking up the lines? Why not that Stahl-Boyle line to play against the triplets instead of the McDonough line?
Okay.
I know that those guys shut down.
You believe it was a defensive letdown that let up the game?
Oh, well, absolutely. When it's 1-on-4, yeah, that's a breakdown.
Okay, Isola.
I know he's got the nickname of the King, but when Mike Richter won the Stanley Cup in '94 for the Rangers, he wasn't giving up 12 goals in 2 games. I just think Tampa Bay is too skillful, too fast for the New York Rangers.
Bob Ryan.
They're playing, they being Tampa Bay, with great confidence now against him, and the triplets line is absolutely too much for the Rangers to handle. Maybe Kevin's suggestion will work, but I don't think anything's going to stop the Rangers.
Frank,
now.
There are people of your ilk, and people who live in New York who think maybe Lundqvist should be on the bench for the next game. You're shaking your head now.
And Cam Talbot played well during Lundqvist's absence, but you know what? This is the biggest game of your season. Your best goalie's got to be in there.
Buy or sell 2 per Jordan Schultz, Huffington Post. Series of tweets. Lakers pursuing Tom Thibodeau. Mitch Kupchak to Bill Ryder today. There's nothing to it, and he's off to tell Byron Scott just that. KB, would the Lakers be wise to consider Tibbs over Scott? Would he be an upgrade?
He might be an upgrade just looking at what he did with Chicago, but I don't think that would look good for the Lakers franchise right now. How many coaches have they had just in the last 5 years? It looks like a rudderless ship if they make another change.
I stole it.
Tom Thibodeau's an upgrade over a lot of coaches in the NBA, but Byron Scott deserves a chance with a healthy Laker roster. That's not the Laker way to do that.
Bob Ryan.
In general terms, the Lakers shouldn't be worrying about image. They should be worrying about wins and losses, and they would be well served to upgrade at coaching. No offense, but there are better coaches than Byron Scott, and Tibbs is one of them.
Flasky.
Bob, I don't think you can know how B. Scott did, considering last year with the injuries and how horrible the team was.
Scott.
I think he bit the bullet for the Lakers last year. They're going to reward him. He needs at least another year with the kids and with Kobe out there to see how he can do. That's only fair.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's any way this happens? We know we're hearing from Mitch Kupchak.
Zero.
Where does this come from, Flasky, in your estimation?
Yeah, it's stunning to me. Nobody out here is talking about it. I don't know where the tweet came from, out of nowhere, because nobody was even talking about that.
Buy or sell 3, John Calipari. Okay, this is interesting. He's telling a gathering of 3,000 business executives yesterday at Rupp, while he was winning a humanitarian award, that the goal for last year's Kentucky team was to get 8 guys drafted. It wasn't about winning a title. It was, quote, we kind of work it the other way. What are your dreams? What are you looking for? What are you trying to get out of life? How can we help you with that? End quote. Frank, buy or sell Calipari's honesty there?
Yeah, you know, I once won the Good Guy Award in my living room, so I know what that feels like. You know, John Calipari right here is talking to his recruits. That's all he's doing. Yes, he wants to win a national championship, but everyone's using this against him in recruiting. He's saying, come here, I'll get you to the end.
Okay, so you buy or sell the statement, and how should UK feel about that statement? How should Wildcats?
Well, they should know that he's going to put us in position every year to win the national championship with great players.
Mm-hmm. Bob?
Well, Big Blue Nation, trying to get used to the whole Calipari way of life, but that's not something they really want to hear, I don't think, in general terms. That's got to be very...
Is it okay for Calipari to say it?
It's wise because it plays to the recruits, the constituents. Yeah, those constituents.
Flashy, how about you?
Kentucky fans understand this. This is how Calipari works. He's tuned in to the mindset of the 17, 18-year-old kid. He's trying to get him there in the program, get him on the bench. Then once they're there, the Big Blue Nation can cheer for him to win a championship. They just want great players. This is how he does it.
Well, the reason that he had 8 guys going into the pros is because he gets that message out there anyway. So this time he just articulated in a different place and people picked up on it. This is what kids want to know. Where am I going to play? Where am I going to be on TV? How am I going to get to the pros?
What everybody knows, isn't it? Everybody wants to know, where are they going to play? When are they going to be on TV? Bob? It's not next segment, that's for sure. What's the last word?
You win a few, you lose a few, you spend some time in Roger Goodell's office. You know, that's life.
We'll see you next time. Plasky, Blackistone, and Sola, Lightning Round. Coming up, the NFL praising Andrew Luck's precision, strength, and intelligence.
Welcome back to Around the Horn, presented by Guinness Blonde American Lager, part of Happy Hour.
People connecting too many dots, or did the NFL go too far with precision, strength, intelligence? Tweet about quarterbacks, Flashy.
The NFL went way too far. I don't know how many people actually tweet out, in column-wise, the words to have them spell out PSI. All of a sudden, you have Goodell trying to make nice with Kraft. They seem to have a truce. It's still a fluid situation. Then you throw these longs on the fire.
So you think there's something there? You think there's some smoke?
Oh, it's absolutely something there because of the way it's
an awfully interesting coincidence that they would come out with PSI just like that and then point to Andrew Luck. I don't get it. You know what? If they want this whole thing to go away, then stop making it a story each and every day with just the smallest.
Sola, how about you?
Yeah. Whatever happened to protecting the shield? Isn't Tom Brady still part of the shield? I think that's trolling on Twitter, and I should know because I tend to do it every once in a while. And also, Andrew Luck, no offense, he's a great player. Andrew Luck's a great player, hasn't won a Super Bowl yet.
So you guys all think there's something here. This wasn't just words on a page.
No.
Okay.
It's like junior high stuff.
No need for Doc connecting with Darrelle Revis. Let's say that. He drew a straight line. The Patriots have a history of doing stuff. You can't hide that. Tom was there when they did that stuff in the past. That was to your paper, the Daily News, Frank. KB, Revis was on the Patriots when this happened. How would you describe the way he's analyzing it?
Well, you know what? I mean, you just took $10 million to play for this team and they get you a ring Tom Brady did or maybe a poor call from the other side, and now you're saying this kind of stuff? Come on, man.
Don't form. Okay. Ice, how about you?
Tony, I'll give you another fancy quote you can put on the screen from Jimmy Conway. Look at me. Never rat on your friends. Always keep your mouth shut. Darrelle Revis, you won the Super Bowl because of Tom Brady just a few months ago. Come on.
Flashy.
Yeah, I think the optics on this are terrible. I mean, I'm sure Revis knows a lot of got the skeletons in the closet. Sure, he can talk a lot about this stuff, but it makes him look like a bad teammate. And what does it make now is Jets teammates think about this guy's coming back into our locker room. He's going to be ratting us out next time he leaves. It looks bad for Revis.
I did like that Blackistone said Brady's the guy that got him a ring. Well, actually, maybe it was a bad play call on the other side.
I know. He had to throw a shit on the Carroll.
Flashy, you don't have to live the rest of your life like a schnook, but you're off the program now. What's the last word?
There's got to be another Game 7 that the Clippers win. I can find somewhere to cover. Let me.
Oh, why don't you even remind us? You would have started at -70. Blackistone, that's showdown next. Straight ahead, who is the rightful owner of a ball hit into a boat?
ESPN Radio, bringing you directly to the biggest events in sports.
Center field, well hit, Hunter back, out of here!
From opening day of baseball,
Throw to the plate, safe at the plate!
right through the World Series.
For the third time in 5 seasons, the San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
Whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant, when the NBA tips off, ESPN Radio is right there when a champion is crowned.
We have a new world champion. The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
And when the magic of bowl season arrives, ESPN Radio is your home for the new college football playoff.
The college football playoff first national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The biggest events in sports can be found right here on ESPN Radio.
It's showdown, it's Icy Stone, and it's Syracuse and the number 44. Are you with the school on retiring it and giving it to players in special circumstances as determined by a committee, or are you with Donovan McNabb and others saying it needs to remain up in the rafters and unused, KB?
Well, I'll just ask you this, Tony. What did the first number 44 that you put up there, what do you have to say about it?
Jim Brown said he'd go right with people wearing the number.
Then I'm okay with it, too. There's one guy I don't differ with. It's Jim Brown.
It's an honor to wear it. Ernie Davis wore it. Floyd Little wore it. It's just like at Georgetown with 33. Paul Tagliabue, Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing. There's nothing wrong with letting other great players wear those numbers.
Oh, so you guys agree.
With Jim Brown, too.
Interesting strategy. You'll get a point, but that's not going to happen again. We'll move on. It's the boat owner whose boat caught Pedro Alvarez's home run Tuesday, who saw it while he was watching the game at a restaurant and saw somebody stick their hands into his boat and get the ball, and now he wants that ball back. Frank, I go to you as my maritime law expert. Does he have a case?
That's what I call pirate booty. Come on, that's all fair to go out there and get that baseball. And they were careful with the boat. They celebrated. That's their home run ball.
Yeah, you know what? It's just like a ball that goes over the fence into your yard the kids are playing with. You know, the kids can come over and get it and take it back. I have no problem with that. It's just very interesting, though. But do give that guy the ball back. That would be the nice
I'm glad you find it interesting, Kevin. I think we all go to Isola for our booty, our pirate booty. Frankie, FaceTime.
Well, for those of us who went to college 70s, 80s, 90s, we grew up with David Letterman. Last night was his final show. I'll never forget the first one that he did after September 11th. He always had the right tone. I actually almost made the show one time at the NBA Finals. A producer walked up to me. They said, would you be in a segment? I said, absolutely. Biff Henderson sat next to me, had my arm around him, and he said, I'm with Tony Danza at the NBA Finals. I looked at him, and I was trying to be clever. I said, you're sitting in my girlfriend's seat. His response was, if you have a girlfriend, why is your arm around me? I never made the show.
Tony Danza. Angela. Thank you, Dave. Your DNA is in all of us.
Miguel Cabrera leads the Detroit Tigers into Anaheim to face Mike Trout and the Los Angeles Angels. The pregame's at 7 Eastern, followed by first pitch at 8. Sunday on ESPN2 and on ESPN Radio.